Hello, everybody. Let's see. Excuse the delay. Excuse the delay because I was trying to get live and my Zoom wasn't working. So I think we're live. Let me double check. Yes, here we are. Live on Facebook, live on Instagram. I'm going to quickly share the link with everyone in our group. And we will start with our weekly training on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. We're here every week, and I'm helping you with everything to do with learning to teach yoga and English, of course, but also help you set up your own career, so your international yoga teaching career. Today, I would like to speak to you about 7 tricks to help you optimize your English for yoga learning journey. So really it's just 7 ways to optimize learning English for yoga. And as you see, in about 3 weeks from today, if you're watching this live, about 3 weeks from today, we're going to have the Teach with Confidence mini course. And I'm super excited about this because on this course, I will teach you all the words and all the vocabulary, or at least how to learn all the words in the vocabulary to teach with confidence, teach yoga and English with confidence. So on day 1, we'll have a look at all the words that you really need to know. On day 2, we're going to have a look at cueing structure, so sentence structures that you can use to write your cues and use language in your yoga classes. And on day 3, I'm going to teach you the 6-step process to actually teach with confidence. So I'm super excited about this. If you haven't signed up already, go to the link in my bio if you're watching on Instagram. If you're watching on Facebook, there will be links in our Facebook group and beneath this training. But today, I'm going to share with you 7 tricks to optimize your English for yoga learning journey. And by that, also help you to stay disciplined and motivated. Because every learning journey is different and learning processes differ depending on, for example, the type of things that you want to learn, your experience with the topic so far, but also the methodologies and learning techniques that you've been taught to use in the past. I'm going to speak about that in a moment. So good to see so many of you here. Thank you for joining. If you have questions about this, feel free to write them in the chat and I will reply to them after I've finished everything that I wanted to share with you today. So really, your learning journey can depend on the thing that you want to learn, how familiar you are with the topic already, and also the methodologies and the techniques that you've been using in the past. Let me double check if the sound is on Facebook, because it looks like
excuse delay.
Yeah. It's on. All good. All right. So when you learn something or when you want to learn something new, some people sign up for courses. Yeah. And on a course, you work towards a very specific outcome in a container. You've got a step-by-step process. And you will also find support in sharing your journey with your classmates. But there are more ways to learn things, right? Other people go for coaching or mentoring programs to receive one-on-one support or personalized support. And again, others like a more independent approach and they try to figure everything out by themselves. Yeah, whatever your learning strategy is, or whatever it looks like, it can be, and ask yourself, is this something that I struggle with? It can be that you don't really know where to start or how to continue. Yeah. Or it can be that you feel overwhelmed with all the resources and materials and all the courses available and don't know which one is right for you. Or it could be that you get stuck because you focus on things that you don't actually need, right? Or you get stuck by focusing on using old-fashioned learning methods, that don't actually work for you. It could also be that you feel alone because you have no one to share your progress with, right? Ask yourself, do you suffer from any or more or even all of these challenges? Yeah. As an avid learner myself, right? I learn anything to do. I love learning anything to do with yoga. I love learning foreign languages. I've learned four foreign languages so far, and I've explored many different learning strategies. Yeah, some work, some didn't. And years back, before I became an English teacher, I thought that my learning strategies would be the same for everyone and they would work for everyone. However, when I started teaching English as a foreign language, it taught me that the opposite is true. Yeah. Everybody, every person has a different way of absorbing and processing information. So I'm aware that no one, or that it's not it's not one size fits all. Yeah. It's never one size fits all. And I love exploring this topic. I love exploring how we learn things and how we become better at things. And it's my passion as well to help you optimize your learning journey. So it's faster, it's more effective, more personal. And I've helped hundreds of yoga teachers and also English learners to navigate their journey. And I realized in this process, I've been doing this for many years already, I realized that there's one thing that does work for everybody. Yeah, it is one thing that really works for all, and that is personalizing your learning journey. Yeah, and it's often something we forget or we don't know how to do. So in this training, I will take you through 7 tricks to optimize your learning your learning English for yoga. Grab pen and paper if you want to write things down. You might have things that come to your mind or that you would like to try. So maybe you want to take notes of this, or pause the video if you're watching this as a replay, or you listen to this on the podcast later, or pause the audio. But let's dive in. So take notes if you want to, pause it and write things down in your phone if you need to. But let's dive in. Number 1, the first trick to help you optimize your learning is to find out what your learning style is. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that I've spoken about this before. So let's quickly look at what a learning style is. Your learning style defines how you best absorb and process information. And this has to do with the way that you receive information. Yeah, it can be through video, audio, pictures, drawing things, doing things, even a combination of all these things. In school, and especially if you're a little bit older, you're my age and older, and especially old-fashioned schooling systems, there is way too little attention for finding what works for every person individually. This often makes that students feel less than. Yeah, they feel incapable, or they compare themselves to other people in their class and feel like they're not as good as them or not as intelligent as others. And that's really untrue, because we have to remember every person processes and absorbs information differently. There's a really famous phrase by Einstein, and he said, you can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. And this really speaks to understanding what your personal talents are. But how this translates to learning is that if you've been taught to learn one way, but that's not your personal or your unique learning style, then studying anything becomes very hard because it doesn't match your personality. Yeah, it's really hard and super ineffective. So the first step or the first trick really to optimize your learning journey is to find out what your learning style is, and then find activities that match that learning style. So apart from it becoming more effective, it also will be way more enjoyable. Yeah. If you want to know what your learning style is, I have a blog and a podcast episode on this, and it's called Your Learning Style is Unique. So if you go to the blog, engaunite.com/blog, and you search for Your Learning Style is Unique, you will find it there. If you type it in on Spotify or Google Podcast or Apple Podcast, Your Yoga in English, Your Learning Style is Unique, you will find it there. And you can find out more about how to find out what your learning style is. So that's number one. Trick number one, find out what your learning style is. Trick number two is define your teaching style. Yeah. So after discovering your learning style, it's time to define your teaching style. Your teaching style in terms of learning English for yoga refers to the type of words, the language and communication that you use with your students in class, but also outside or beyond the classes. For example, if you teach prenatal yoga and the majority of your class themes are about navigating hormonal or emotional changes, getting into motherhood, the relationship with your baby, it doesn't make any sense for you to study all the words, all the vocabulary, speaking about the anatomy of, for example, the knee, right? Or the hips or pelvis, definitely, because that we speak about in pre and postnatal yoga a lot. But there's a lot of body parts that are not necessarily the focus of the theme of those classes or the anatomy focus of that classes. Yeah, it may sound obvious. My example may sound really obvious, but being ultra clear on what you teach and who you teach allows you to select the type of vocabulary and the type of language that you need to develop for the people that you teach or for the topics that you teach. And this way, understanding what your teaching style is, you can focus on learning all the language that you will actually need for your job, that you will actually apply in your job and make it relatable to your job. Yeah. If you don't know what your teaching style is, I've got a really, really fun quiz to help you out. It's called What is your style of teaching voice? And you can find this as well in the link in my bio and on the website, engaunite.com. And in the Facebook group, I think it's posted a few times. You'll be able to find it there too. Website is easiest, engaunite.com. And then you will see the quiz, what's your style of teaching voice? So that's number two. Trick number two, define your teaching style. Trick number three. I'm going to warn you because your first thought might be that it sounds boring, but it's really important. Yeah, trick number three is repeat and find variety. So I keep repeating myself that repetition is ultra important. And like I said, to some people, repetition may sound very boring. But in terms of learning English for yoga, repeating words, phrases, cues, your sequences, repeating everything that you want to teach is the key to master something, is the key to master a skill. It's the key to make something your own and no longer sound like an actor, like you're faking it, or maybe even faking it until you make it. Or it also makes you no longer sound the same as your own yoga teachers. Yeah. Next to repetition, you want to find variety in that repetition. So when learning English for yoga, this means that you practice all of your skills, speaking, writing, reading, and listening, and vocabulary development. Yeah, so you practice all your skills. And you also practice it using it in different types of contexts. So as soon as you repeat what you've learned by seeing it, hearing it, writing about it, speaking about it, you can train yourself to use it more naturally And it will also help you to be able to use it on the spot, yeah, without having to think or without feeling like you freeze or block or feel stuck, because you've used it so many times. And you can now use it in a more smooth and authentic way. Yeah. So repetition and find variation. Trick number 3. Go into trick number 4 is add playfulness. And this is one of my favorites. I love being playful when learning. And I think it's really one of the most effective ways as well. So playful experiences such as games or activities, they help you learn without feeling like you really need to study hard for something. You know how in school, for example, you had these endless lists of vocabulary and you had to write them down and write down the translations, and you would know that list, but after you did a test or an exam, you forgot it again because you never used it in context and probably never used it playing a game or in an activity. Yeah, so games and activities, adding playfulness, allow you to create memories. Yeah, the brain starts to create memories, which makes it easier already to remember something new. And also that memory links to something that you've learned in the past. I'm going to give you an example. When I teach English as a foreign language, general English, and especially in the past when I worked at different language schools, and I had students from all over Europe, all over Central South America, and even Asia, I really loved playing a game, and the game was called Never Have I Ever. Never Have I Ever is a game where you speak about things that you have never done before, right? So you speak about things that maybe you would like to do, or maybe you have planned to do in the future, but until now, you never did it. So it's not only a really fun game to get to know your classmates and speak about your experiences, but the strategy for me as a teacher is to practice the present perfect grammar structure plus the use of irregular verbs in context. So the phrase never have I ever is always followed by a past participle. If you studied English, these things make sense to you. So a past participle, if you think of irregular verbs, yes, think of irregular verbs, think of the list of irregular verbs. You've got present, past, and past participle. Yes, always that third column. So the phrase never have I ever is always followed by a past participle. And for example, that could be never have I ever been to China, or never have I seen a whale. Yeah, it can be never have I ever sat on a trunk. A trunk is part of a tree. Yeah, as you see, now students will hardly notice that they're studying, they're learning, because they're playing a game. And in the meantime, have a lot of fun. They're creating memories and they get to know other people. Yeah, so it's really effective to add playfulness, use games and activities to make your learning fun, light, easy, but also more personal. Yeah, you create personal memories. So that's my trick number 4 for you. I'm going to go to trick number 5. Practice what you learn straight away. Practice what you learn straight away. My teacher once said, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. To me, this directly refers to practicing what you learn straight away to not forget it. Again, it's an opportunity to make things your own, apply it more naturally, use it authentically. But practicing what you learn straight away can also be extremely motivating, as in that process, you see that you're capable of using it. You see that you are able to apply your new knowledge. Yeah, so in the context of learning English for yoga, practicing what you learn, I would say refers to all skills. Yeah. So use new words in your sequencing script, record an audio or a video, speaking out loud to yourself, or maybe even send it to someone and ask for feedback. Find other yogis and yoga teachers to speak about the topics that you're learning about, but practice everything as you learn it. Because having knowledge isn't very valuable if you don't know how to use it. And if you want to teach yoga in English, you have to practice the language, the words, the vocabulary, phrases, the phrasal verbs, idioms, metaphors, imaginative language. You need to practice these things to be able to use it in your yoga classes. So that's trick number 5. Practice what you learn straight away. Number six is accountability and community. Now, remember at the beginning, for those that have joined us later, in the beginning, I explained that one of the reasons why it's challenging to stay motivated and disciplined learning English for yoga is that it can feel extremely lonely sometimes, especially if you are someone to take an independent approach. Yeah, if you take an independent approach, feeling alone is a very, very common struggle. So doing everything by yourself means that you don't have anyone to share your doubts with. You don't have anyone to ask questions, nor can you share your achievements or receive validation for your progress. There's no one to cheer you up or motivate you or encourage you. Yeah. So using this type of approach, learning by yourself and trying to figure everything out by yourself, you may miss someone that holds you accountable. And it's very, very common to lose discipline and get demotivated because you don't see any advances. So studies show that people that learn in community are way faster and way more effective at learning. And by learning with others, but also from others, you share a common journey. Most likely, too, you share the same challenges, the same obstacles, and you also have the same type of questions. So a community, but also teachers, mentors, or other types of people that can guide you will make you feel less alone in the process. And it also allows you to ask for feedback, ask for support, help with correcting your mistakes, and even learn from each other's mistakes. And it's super valuable, really, really, really valuable, especially learning a language. So that's trick number 6, accountability and community. Last trick for today, number 7, very last trick of this training is acceptance. Or in other words, trust the process. Yeah, so for the perfectionist and for the people that are impatient, and I used to be one of these two, I definitely used to be perfectionistic and impatient. So there's no judgment. But we need to remember learning takes time. Learning really takes time. So think of when you became a yoga teacher. You didn't learn how to sequence and you didn't learn how to cue in one day, or did you? Did you learn how to do this and be really, really good at it in one day? That also takes time, right? So especially learning English for yoga, I cannot remind you enough how important it is to trust the process. And just as it takes time to master a skill, it takes time to learn. It takes time to memorize. It takes time to be able to use your new language. It takes time to also feel natural and smooth and authentic doing it. And even time to unlearn things that don't work, or maybe things that you've learned but actually aren't right, or maybe even incorrect. Or in the context of English for yoga, unlearn words and vocabulary that are non-inclusive, or that are super outdated and even offensive. Yeah, there's a lot of words that we use that we don't know can be received in a really offensive way by others. So trick number 7, trust the process, accept that learning takes time, and in the meantime, measure your progress, because measuring progress allows you to see how far you've come as well. And it also allows you to celebrate your achievements. It allows you to see what works and what doesn't work, and how to be more effective, how to become more effective at it. I spoke about how to measure your progress in the training last week. So if you're interested in learning more about that, go to the training last week where I spoke about how to, what did I call it? How to start teaching yoga in a foreign language, And the last trick I gave you there, the last step, was measuring progress. So you can have a look at that too. All right. So I'm going to summarize for you. Quick summarize of everything that I've shared today. So 7 tricks to optimize your learning journey, learning English for yoga. 7 tricks. Number 1 is, what was it? Find out what your learning style is. And remember, if you want to find out, there's a blog and a podcast episode called Your Learning Style is Unique. Yeah, so you can find that on the website or on the podcast, wherever you listen. So trick number 1, find out what your learning style is. Trick number 2, define your teaching style, because based on your teaching style, you can find out what language and words you need to learn. Trick number 3 is repeat and find variety. So repetition of all your skills. Yeah. Writing, reading, listening, speaking, and vocabulary development. Use all of those things in different types of context. Then trick number 4 is add playfulness. Remember games and activities so that you can create memories, because memories help you to remember what you've learned or how it was or what that person said. And that way you can use it too. Right? So add playfulness. Number 5, practice what you learn straight away, because if you don't use it, you lose it. So practice what you learn straight away. Number 6, accountability and community. Remember that if you share your learning journey with others, it's way easier to stay disciplined, motivated, hold each other accountable, learn from each other's mistakes, ask and also give support, and also ask and give feedback to others. And the last one, trust the process and accept that learning takes time. We don't learn anything in one day, and we definitely don't master a skill in one day. Right? So if you have questions, write in the comments. Time for questions, or maybe you have comments for yourself as well. Maybe tricks that helped you to optimize your learning journey. So write in the comments for me, please. And I want to remind you that from the 10th to the 12th of March, we will do the Teach with Confidence mini course. And this mini course is for non-native English speaking yoga teachers that want to learn how to teach yoga in English with confidence. So on day 1, we're going to dive into the vocabulary and the words that you need to teach yoga in English. On day 2, we're going to form sentences, so cues and instructional phrases to guide your students with compassion, but also very effectively. And on day 3, I will share with you the 6-step process to teach with confidence. So really what your steps are doing that and how you can stay motivated and disciplined in that process. I would love to see you there. If you have questions, send me a message. You can always reach out to me at annie@engaunite.com, and that will be email, so annie@engaunite.com, or in the DM, send me a message on Instagram or on Facebook. And I hope to see all of you on the mini course, 10th to 12th of March. And obviously next week, because we're here every week for a live training. I forgot what we're going to speak about next week. I've planned it in. I will plan it. I'm going to plan it in the stories, and I will post it on the stories for you to save it. So you can save the reminder and receive a notification when we go live. All right. And I will send out an email about it too. So if you receive my emails, just look out for my email to remind you of the topic next week. All right. I'm sending you all lots and lots and lots of love. Good luck learning English for yoga. Any questions? I'm here for you. And I can't wait to see you all again next week. See you later.